Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This match is going to determine who takes home a guaranteed $25,000 and is able to play in the finals for the grand prize of $50,000 in the NASL Season 1 finals. This is such a huge game right now, and we will see who is able to come on top and close this series out. We did see Sen up 2-1. He did lose Game 4, so MC did tie the series. And without further ado, we'll get to where these players are spawning. Fnatic'Sen is down here in the bottom side of Metalopolis, and in the close by air position, his opponent is going to be MC. We've seen some very interesting games out of these two very interesting styles, especially. The style that has worked for MC is massive amounts of Stargate units, and the style that has worked for Sen is canceling out ground units by way of baneling drops. So both these players have a lot of respect for one another, and it is so hard to not like Sen. I mean, Sen is such a great player. He's so fun to watch, and it seems like everyone in the community likes him. I don't know anybody that doesn't like Sen, and it's just hard not to. A lot of people don't like MC only because he's kind of like boisterous. He kind of like, you know, stomps his way around when he's in events. I think it's cool. I think it's great to have personalities like that in esports. It really helps out the overall scene. But Sen is the exact opposite. He's very humble. He's very grateful for every opportunity he gets. And again, he's really representing his country almost by himself. I don't know of any other Taiwanese pro gamers, or at least for StarCraft, out there. But we'll just go ahead and jump into this game after getting a little bit of information on these players. MC not going for Forge Fast Expand, instead just going for the typical gateway stuff that we're going to see here. Cybernetics Core does drop at the front door as well. Sen is going for the spawning pool first, and again, a pretty late gas. He's waited almost every time, or at least every game, to get his gas until about like 4 or 5 supply after he starts his spawning pool, which is really rare. You usually see the spawning pool and the gas start at almost the same time. There's even some Zerg players that get gas well ahead, and MC has tried to abuse that just a little bit with some harassment. Sen's now coming down here to take his expansion. As you can see, the Zerglings are like, yeah, you think you can patrol there, but no, I'm just going to kill you if you try to do that instead. So the probe's trying to run away the best he can, and out comes the normal units out of MC. It looks like he wants to go for his 1 gate, probably a Stargate expansion. We will see. Now, in terms of the stage here, this is a huge match, obviously, and I have to think that MC probably has the upper hand in terms of being able to close this out, because he has more big stage experience. He has won 2 GSLs. He's a very rich player. I think he's just barely behind NEST for the most money earned in StarCraft 2, hovering somewhere around the neighborhood of $200,000 in just tournament winnings. So he's a very rich man, especially for just playing a video game for a living. Yeah, I think MC is probably the more collected player here. Sen was up 2-1, and if he loses these next 2, or rather if he loses this game, making it a 3-2 comeback for MC, that's going to be pretty hard to deal with, but MC has been in this position before, so it's kind of experience versus just raw skill of Sen. Let's see who's able to take this and able to advance to the finals. Sen's speed is now still a little a ways off from finishing. MC is now throwing down the 2nd gateway, and the 3rd should be coming here any second. You did not complete the rest of this wall off. So yeah, we'll see how he wants to respond to this. Here comes the Stargate out of MC, which I'd expected. Again, he was the one that kind of popularized the Stargate play, and it really started around MLG Columbus. He started to integrate that Stargate into his normal expansions here, and it sort of caught on, considering it's a very fundamentally sound play. One thing I was going to mention is that Sen's late speed allows MC to get away with these openers like this. 1 gate expand is so risky against Zerg, because if the Zerg player had their speed up quicker, they could get in here, they could possibly cancel the Nexus, they could make you burn force fields that you didn't want to burn. So that's one thing that I think I don't really care for very much out of Sen's late gas, is that it allows MC to get away with this kind of stuff. but he may have ulterior motives that I'm not thinking of when he runs for that late gas. I guess it will allow him to get the Zergling expand a little off, just a little faster, and still be perfectly safe from any sort of pressure. So every player has their reasons for running the builds that they do. It could even be just as simple as that's what Sen is comfortable with. And again, I haven't seen enough Protoss versus Zerg, or rather Zerg versus Protoss games out of Sen to see what his normal style is. He's very macro heavy. He loves Banelings. He's used Banelings in every game so far, even if it wasn't really something that I thought was really warranted, considering MC had a lot of Stargate units out in earlier games where Sen pulled out Banelings. But Sen is going to take a fast third, as we see here. It's not a terribly fast third. The hatch probably started around 7 minutes or so, which is still fairly fast, but usually you'll see players take it even as early as 5 minutes, or even slightly before if they see that early expand at a Protoss. Here comes the Void Ray harassment, very typical stuff here. The Queen is being charged up on, and the Phoenix comes in here to try to lift it up, but it has to cancel the lift and get out of there so it doesn't die. So Sen is very well prepared for this, probably very used to MC's style, or at least his openers, after these first few games. Sen does have good map vision around. He's going to see if MC wants to take a third, and the Phoenix number is starting to swell just a little bit. There's more Phoenix on the way. The robotics transition looks like it's in effect. +1 weapons is on the way, and the Phoenix now know that this expansion is up, but it should be pretty well protected. There's a bunch of Queens here that are ready to fight off any sort of Stargate harassment that might come. So the Phoenix, or rather the Queens, are going to arrive there, and if you keep them in this tight little pack, it kind of makes up for your lack of creep spreading. As you can see, the creep is not connected, and they're really slow off creep. But if you keep them together like this, it basically means that if you fight one of us, you got to fight all of us, and MC just can't afford to engage that right now. So Sen doing very good work with his Queens, very subtle moves that most people don't think about, but obviously they run through the mind of Sen. He's a very, very smart Zerg player. Here comes MC, showing almost a Huck-style third, and down it goes. So this is a really quick third for Protoss in this map, or rather in this matchup, as we can see it starting at about 10:20. And I say Huck-style because Huck does this a lot, and MC and Huck are very, very good friends. They live together in Korea. You'll see this all the time out of Huck, where he will go for a very sentry-heavy army. He'll harass here and there when he can, do as much as he possibly can, and take a very, very fast third, whereas normally you don't see it that quickly. This can be a little risky if you're not used to the playstyle of the Zerg player that you're playing against, considering they could just go for a really quick roach play, and you're not going to have a whole lot to hold that off. Phoenixes don't do very well against that, but I think MC is comfortable enough with fighting Sen to know that Sen doesn't go for very fast Roach Warrens, or sometimes not even Roach Warrens at all. Here comes the typical Baneling's Nest out of Sen, as we've seen in every game so far. So it looks like he wants to get into that again. Here comes the Infestation Pit, and the dropping for his Overlords once again. There's going to be there's going to be a little bit of an attempt at a Speedling run by to try to get into this third to see what it can do, but MC has very wisely walled this off. Here comes the Colossus transition and Thermal Lance out of MC. The 3 gateways are now finishing up, and here comes the Spire out of Sen. So it looks like Sen wants to go back to that Mutalisk, Zergling, Baneling dropping that he was doing before, as he's showing all that tech at once with Infestor support, but we will see if that winds up working again this game. I think MC has now learned by now that anytime he decides to go Colossus and stray away from that Stargate-based army, he just falls to Sen's Baneling dropping style. Here's Sen taking the gold now, and MC is going to be on top of it since his Phoenix are still roaming around, just being annoying and keeping Sen on his back foot. Sen doesn't have creep quite connecting here, and nothing really out to cancel out these air units except for very slow Queens. So MC is now charged. His hatchery is going to be at fairly low health whenever it finishes. There's still a lot of Queens here though, so MC I don't think he can really afford to engage this straight up. He's going to have to be kind of careful to make sure he doesn't get too far in here. And he actually cancels the hatchery, so even just buying a couple minutes is a pretty big deal. All the Queens are now lifted. As you can see, MC's Void Ray is charged. The Void Ray might die though, as all the Queens are going to land at the same time, and yes, the Void Ray does die, and MC is taking a few unnecessary losses. Random fungal growth there to get 1 Phoenix. I don't know if that was really worth it. but at least MC now knows that the Infestors are on the field. 3 more are rallying, plus 2 Zergling attacks are on the way. This Nexus does not have a rally from MC, so getting a little bit distracted with everything else that's going on, very understandable. The Phoenix that picks up this Queen has to cancel it and run away. So you can see the Phoenix numbers are really thinning out. I still would like more Phoenix off of this Stargates though, especially if he shows Infestors. It's really the best way to deal with Infestors, just to go and pick them up and kill them. But the 4 Phoenix versus the rest of the army that Sen's going to have out, it's just, I don't think it's quite high enough. MC now has 3 Colossus on the field and he's ready to push out. So here comes his advancement. He's just going to kill a couple of creep tumors and fall back, which I really like. You don't want to get too aggressive at this stage of the game if you don't know what kind of army composition your opponent is running. He now knows because he has an observer sitting over Sen's army, so you can see all these overlords with banelings underneath, so he's going to know that those overlords are probably loaded with banelings, that if he tries to push in too far, he could just die right now and put himself out of a tournament. Here comes the Dark Shrine, which is, I can't tell where it is. I think it's somewhere in the natural... Nope, they're all cannons. Okay, here's the Dark Shrine here. Not that it really matters where it is, but anyway. Dark Shrine coming out. Here's a small push out of Zealots that Sen is going to notice from this Overlord. The Zealots just trying to get over here and cancel expansions or do any sort of harassment damage as possible. MC is still a little bit behind in supply, but MC's army is really starting to grow. So this is a very, very important next couple of minutes here. I'm feeling that there's going to be a pretty big engagement between these two. So we'll see who actually comes on top of that engagement, may determine who's going to win the rest of this game. Sen is almost maxed, and he's almost maxed on Banelings and Infestors. It's such a potent unit composition, especially against what MC is actually running. Here comes really strange Zergling advancement, just donating a ton of Zerglings right there. So MC comes on top of that battle because Sen just decided to run a bunch of Zerglings and Banelings in there for free. So I'm not sure that he really engaged the way that he should have right there. Nerves may be coming into effect just a little bit here for Sen, but he's already remaxed, so not that big of a loss there. 60 more Zerglings are on the way, plus 2 Carapace on his ground units. Here comes a Baneling drop here into MC's third. MC notices that. Look at his fantastic reaction times. The Banelings only wind up killing 1 probe, as the cannon does deal with her. Oh wow, big detonation right there to kill about 6 probes. So I guess it went a little better than it was looking like for Sen. Sen trying to drop off this last Baneling and do a little more damage, but it does not do anything. MC is trying to take another base here, as we can see another Nexus is on the way. But where is it? Oh, it's here at the gold. His army was just floating around. It's kind of just blended in a little bit. But Sen is now throwing up a couple of extra hatcheries, as we can see them on the way here. They look to be macro hatches, and yes, they are. Trying to constrict this entryway just a little bit.